Hey. Hey, we're the monkeys. He's got gas, so he can't feel immune from damage. Again, you're putting the bunker in front with no wall in, and he can just completely surround that with lings and kill you. I begin to wonder if you've never seen someone just go ling, baneling. I mean, when he opens gas like that, he could totally crush you. Totally crush you. So let's see you still have a reasonably large army. This is good. Alright, we got 10 minutes, 2,500, 47 workers. That's awesome. You got medevacs popping out. That's great. Stim, combat shields. An unused factory, +1 on the way. This is good. This is good. It's important to do this kind of 10-minute poke against the Zerg just to convince him not to spam economy his whole life. So even though this push is pretty much doomed to fail, because you don't have any tech units and infantry is crazy easy to deal with for Zerg, it's still important in that it means that your Zerg opponent is not going to have a zillion workers. Zillion workers. So he's got a spine, a queen, some tiny smattering of lings, some banelings out front. His army is very small, and you can probably kill it with the force that you have pretty easily. You're going to stim before you even face his army. I don't know if I like that, because you only have 2 medevacs. They only have so much energy. And you don't want to be knocking down these rocks either. This is a great choke point to force the Zerg to try to run through, right? You want to spread your army on this side of the choke point and then run up with a few marauders and engage and try to pull them into you. Really, you should be checking whether he has a third. Here he comes. He's going to try to wrap around. And you're just going to rip him to shreds because you didn't have enough units. Escape. Must be Italian. Nice. That was a great engagement. You ripped him to shreds. That was good. I liked this opening. I hated that you didn't have a wall in front of your base. I think that you needed to get your third a lot quicker. And I really wish that you'd been focusing more heavily on these upgrades and that you'd got a lot more racks. You don't have enough racks to spend all your money. But the way you used your army was pretty good. And again, just like in the last 2 TVZs we saw, mostly the reason that you're doing well in this game, it's not so much that that you won the fight, even though you did. Like in the other games, you lost the fight. In one of the games, you lost every single fight by a huge margin. But the real advantage you're getting here is convincing the Zerg not to make enough drones to saturate his third. You're showing him a big army and then showing him that it's not dead at the end of the engagement. And so he's saying, I need to have a big army of my own or I'm about to die. And that's awesome. Keeping the army in midfield, this is ground map control, and it's something that the Zergs hate when Terrans get ground map control, man, because if your army is sitting within inches of his third, anytime he tries to do a run-by or harass your base or anything like that, your army is so close that you get to just run up and kill him. So he kind of has to constantly keep his army back all the time. This drop is almost guaranteed to eliminate his third, and at this point I kind of feel like you won the whole game. So he's going to harass you with mutas. You should have had turrets at 10 minutes. It's kind of like, you know, integral part of every TVZ. But it doesn't matter because Marine Marauder compared to the mutas that he's got in your base, you're just going to be doing a base trade in this scenario is going to go in your favor by like 200 billion%. The Marine Marauder rips things to shreds. Mutas do hardly any damage, so you just kind of win. So I liked it. Again, your Zerg opponent cut workers. At 10 minutes, he should have like 70 workers, and he has 43. At 8 minutes, he should have 52 workers, and he has 31. 31 workers at 8 minutes for a Zerg is so pathetic. So I think that you're having a lot of success with this strategy more because you're playing against Zergs who don't get the economy that they need to be able to deal with it, than because it's a good strategy. But you know, as long as it keeps working, keep doing it, man. I like it. I like it for your level of play. Against a good Zerg, this strategy would just get torn to shreds by Ling Baneling on creep. or Ling Baneling Muta, or Ling Baneling Infestor, or even just Roach Infestor. But it forces the Zerg to get out an early army, which is a really important thing, and that forces him not to have a reasonable economy, and that basically just gives you a win later, if not sooner. So I liked it. Good job. Let's fast forward and see what happens at the end of the game. Whoop. So you kind of somewhat base trade, and then your army gets mopped up, and you walk back to the middle of the field. He chases you around with mutas. You say, now that I'm mining again, I can afford some turrets. Once the turrets are done, I'm going to push out and crush you. Oh, you didn't wait for the turrets. Oh, there's still no turrets. Still no turrets. Still no turrets. These mutas are being mildly annoying, but again, as he wastes money on mutas, you're wasting money on a real army. So you guys have the exact same army as each other, but your army is made out of units, whereas his army is made out of mutas. Mutas aren't really units. They're kind of nonsense. So you're gonna do another drop in here. I like the Doom drop better than the big pile drop because of these banelings. Like when you drop in a big pile like this, it makes you really good against lings, but kind of bad against banelings. But I guess you're just gonna pick up and move again. It's funny that he's not using his mutas to make it so that you can't do this. That's the whole point of Ling Baneling Muta. The mutas prevent you from abusing the medevacs, and then the Ling Baneling just crush anything that's not inside the medevac. Good job. Ripping him to shreds slowly, and he's gonna move his army all the way back over there, even though he can just pick up and walk 2 inches back to the thing. Each time he moves his army too, he A moves it so that the lings run in one at a time before the banelings do. It's very silly. And he slowly dies, and your income is huge, so even if you weren't about to win the whole game, which you are, you would still die off income alone. He mops up your army, kills all your medevacs, and now you have to start replacing them. I mean, I'm sure right now it feels like an intense back and forth between you when you're playing, but I mean, watching the replay, we can see that he has 30 supply, so it's not really. He never really stood a chance after the first engagement. Basically, he made 5 banelings, 1 spine, and 10 lings, and nothing else. And you were just like, well, if you're not gonna have an army, I'm gonna win. Thanks. So you won, and that was good. The things that I would change about this build. Even though I like the general concept of making 3 racks worth of infantry and some medevacs, I mean, this is one of the first videos I made was about this style. I called it suicidal aggression. You just make 3 racks and get stim pretty quick, and then just attack the Zerg and attack the Zerg and attack the Zerg and attack the Zerg. And as long as you keep constantly applying pressure to him, he never gets a chance to fully saturate his bases. He gets larva blocked really easily. He never gets a chance to tech up, or it really screws with the Zerg's build, because Terran and Protoss were so used to making economy and army at the same time, constantly building up a couple more workers and a bunch of army and a couple more workers and a bunch of army, that it doesn't really hurt us for you to constantly be applying pressure. It's just like that's what we would have been doing even if you weren't applying pressure, so whatever. But Zerg is not the same way. They have the option of not making army, and they get so used to just making economy and then army and then economy and then army that if you keep up constant pressure, it really screws with them. So yeah, things I would change, obviously get a wall in, and maybe even 2 wall-ins, and get a second starport, get more racks. This is not nearly enough racks. You've got 3 racks, constant production, which is great, and it's spent all your money, which is great. And obviously this build up till 10 minutes is nice and efficient, and it uses all your money, and it's great. But we're gonna see your money pile up as you push out. So you see how your racks are idle while you're pushing out. This is not just you, this is everyone. If you're constantly looking at your army, Marines build in 24 seconds or something ridiculous, 25 seconds. So it's really easy to fall behind on Marine production, and your money's up to like 1,000, 2,000. So whenever I go with Marine medevac heavy type of play against Zerg, you always just got to add additional racks as you're right after you push out or whatever. And you did add 4 more racks, and that's great. Just plan that as part of your build. Just plan to add those racks so that you don't ever forget. Also get turrets at 10 minutes, and also get a second engineering bay and an armory, and really emphasize those upgrades a lot better, because 2-2 lings, especially 2-2 ling baneling, just rips Marines apart. And when you fell back after that first push and you knew that mutas were coming, throw 10 Marines here, 10 Marines here, 10 Marines here, and then get the turrets up. You have 30 Marines. You can put them in 3 places. You don't need to keep them all together. And that's it. So other than that, good work.